The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
And we're back. Wow. We made it for one more show of Table Topics. We were talking about everything, but probably nothing that we're going to even talk about on the show.
Yeah,
So,
right.
table topic that we should roll the dice, or what are we going to talk
Actually,
today?
I was going to I'd probably bring something up, probably might get you aggravated, but it's all right. You're not going to care.
Both of us.
All right.
Because, you know, I know you're going to go somewhere that we're not going to agree.
No, I think we're going to agree on this.
Okay.
But anyway, so I was away last week for work, I was telling you. But prior to that, I had seen, I didn't see it live, but I saw it taped. There was a park board meeting talking about carnivals. So I saw that video, whatever, and I came home this weekend, like August 2nd, I guess that is, August 3rd, this past weekend, and all I see on Brayton Avenue are carnival signs.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, I just saw this like a week ago, and all of a sudden we have the carnival going, so I said, that was quick. So things do move quick around here when we want them to.
Well, especially if it's illegal, because those signs are illegal.
Yeah,
Okay?
Exactly. I was going to say, yeah, you're not supposed to put them on
those signs are illegal.
Islands,
because 3 years ago, when we were planning the Harvest Festival, I called Nancy and I asked Nancy, can I put a sign here, there? And she said, no, we have a regulation that it's no signs on the islands. So I said, okay, it's illegal, it's illegal. I will find something else to advertise. But guess what? I'm driving, you know,
so
2 days before the
carnival,
the carnival, and here's the signs. I said, I don't even going to bother complaining about, you know. So everything, and you saw me probably on Citizens Input saying and going against, because if it's a rule, should be a rule for everybody. And I told him that you know, this is not, the point is somebody trying to make a point across. It's not a fundraiser. You don't do a carnival for fundraiser in 4 days. And on top of it is that the park board didn't approve it, because even back then, when Flanagan went over the park boards and give us the carnival, the permit was issued to the mayor. So he got a permit to put a carnival. This time, no permit. They did it with no permits.
Oh, that's nice.
So, and then I start to complain about, because I said it, I don't trust this company. This was the company that destroyed the parks back on 1990s, doing the carnivals for the same group, okay? So I told him I'm not, you know, I'm not comfortable with this company. I don't trust this company. So they open up the carnival on Thursday night, and on Friday morning, I walked into the park, and I took pictures. So what I saw there, I send the pictures to people that have something to say about it. I saw cables all over the place on the grounds. I saw water hose twisted between electric cords all over the place that I just walked by. I just stepped on it. I saw electric boards I could just stick my finger on, okay? So then I requested, then I said, is this park inspected? Because even if you overrule, even the mayor overrule the park board permit, this event needs to be inspected. Building grounds, everything like we did. We did fire department.
You have to have a police detail and all that
everything.
stuff.
So I took the pictures and I started questioning about if the park was inspected. I called one of the inspectors and he said, no, it's up to the state. Wait a minute. This one is up to the state, but 2 years ago, up to 2 years ago, the carnival needs to be inspected by the city inspectors, and they had to sign a form that they were there inspecting, right? So, okay, I'm going to go by. So it went by. So on Thursday night, to see how they resolved it, and I told the inspector, you know how we had to do it? We had to fence it, all the electric, so people don't have access to. We had
Makes
to
sense.
put carpets over the cords so nobody tripped, okay, on the cords. So I went back on Thursday night, that same day, on Thursday night, to see what they came up with, what the solution was. And the solution was the yellow tape. They just put a yellow tape all the way around. And for my luck, those 10 minutes that I went to the park, I took pictures with kids putting the bikes inside the yellow tape.
Jesus.
Okay, so it's like, is this happening like during the 4 hours? Because this is only 10 minutes I'm here. And the kids are just going underneath the yellow tape and being a place they're not supposed to. And so, but my concern was make sure nobody got hurt. And so far I heard nothing, so thank God that nobody got hurt. So let's see now going forward and if we're going to follow rules, okay? Because even if we escape one rule, we have other rules that we need to follow. And
Since when?
yeah, special in Fall River. So that's what I did requested the funds. Because I want to know how much they made, how much this fundraiser gave to to a group that gets thousands and thousands, not to say hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay, to an organization that their job is to provide programs, after-school programs for low-income kids. But seems like after everybody gets paid, whatever it's left goes to the programs for the kids. So instead of a kid being paid $10 a month for a ballet class, they had to pay $50 a class, and but everybody else got paid. That's the most. So that's what we have to do.
I think I remember because they are a charity. You can give to them because it's a nonprofit. I don't remember their administrative costs being that high, to be honest with you, because you can look at certain charities or nonprofits and they'll tell you the administrative costs are 20% or 30%. I thought they were probably around 10 or 15%, which, I mean, they still have to pay people and stuff like that. But I'd be interested to know what their administrative cost is now.
I requested the financial. They're nonprofits, so I guess anybody can just go online on the nonprofit status organizations and they have, because we had to put it there, our information too, every year. So I'm curious to know how much is the expense and how much actually goes into the needed.
I mean,
kids.
for you, you were starting out, I was cracking up because you said we're probably not going to agree. I agree on this. I don't really care whether it's CD Rec or whatever. It's got to be a fairness issue. So if it's one way for one person, it's got to weigh one way for everybody else. And I think that's where I had the issue. They were asking for support, and I'm like, I can't do that. Because it's a fairness issue now. You either do it one way or the other. You can't do that.
And the thing is, I told them that we need to have those kind of entertainment in the city, but we need all to be on the same step. So make sure everything is safe. Everybody follows rules. And I told the board during my 3 minutes, I told the board, I don't want just for me. And I've been saying this every time that we talk about carnivals. I will help another organization as long as they have a project that they need funds. I have no problem to work with them and to help them. I don't want the carnival just for me. I want the city to have a carnival. every year. Now, where the funds going to, that's something that between organizations that we can come into an agreement who's going to get funds this year. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what you're mentioning too, I just wanted to, I mean, I don't know, I don't really keep track of a lot of things now because, you know, just things are going on for me. But I can, you know, and I know this because we did this, and I know you guys did this. There was and I don't like mentioning things like this, but I'm going to mention it because I think it's important. We had the Re-Creaion Trail, you know, festival there. And, you know, we're all nonprofit neighborhood associations. Most of us do our own thing. So, you know, whatever money you get, like we haven't had a fundraiser in years, whatever money we get always goes back. You know what I mean? It's not like we're doing anything. So I know personally we get a call because we're both our neighborhoods border that Re-Creaion rail trail. And, you know, the little money that we have, we gave $300, and I know you guys did the same thing. So, you know, I know people at times question, you know, where does money come from? That's where this money is going back into different organizations that you guys give it to. Because I know you guys have written checks when we did, and sometimes we never wrote checks, and you wrote checks for it. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yes, I mean, and that's true, because
it's not anything
those dollars are very hard to squeeze out of people. It's very hard today because it's so much asking money for so many different events, for so many things, that it's getting harder and harder to get a dollar out of somebody. And we work very hard to try to squeeze a dollar out of somebody. But that dollar that, you know, we put a lot of work into to take it goes right back to the community. And that's exactly when I'm saying that we need to work together on that. And if that organization needs funds, I mean, every weekend I have tickets for stuff. And you know, and I try. I don't get $100,000 a month, a year for paycheck, but I try to help everybody. And I think it was last week, and I had the clam cakes for Angels Anonymous. I think that was we try. We try.
So you're given there too, and I don't think people know that because you don't usually mention those kinds of things. But I think it's important for people to know that's what happens. I mean, you guys do a lot more fundraising than we do, but when we can, and if it's something that's close to our neighborhood, we'll do. But yeah, I mean, you can't do it for everybody. I mean, like I said, I know you guys do it for a lot more people than we do.
I was waiting this year for the police. Remember that every year we have, I think it's Bank Streets that does a fundraiser for some advertise for the police.
That's another thing.
That all organizations, you know, most organizations, should I say, that's another donation every year that we do, and we're proud to do it. You know, we're proud to do it. That's stuff that we want, and definitely, you know, we need to support our police department. But that's what money comes.
And that's why I wanted to point that out, because you mentioned that. I forgot all about that. I know our group
and
gave
I was
to that
waiting
too.
for a call, but I never got a call. So
and it might not
probably
be this year,
didn't this year.
But you know how things are done. Sometimes it's done for 2 years and it's never done
and
again.
Then you guys do the food for the police department. There was another good
thing
event
that
everybody participated.
I just wanted to get that out there because I think that's important to note that you guys are doing that. That's where some of your money is going. You know. So just wanted to mention that. Okay, no problem.
That's okay.
But
it's nobody that I want to talk.
No problem. So I thought that was important. So we can close that out if you want.
Now, since we're talking about police. And on Facebook, I'm being seen a lot of videos lately about people getting arrested. I want to make it very clear something. When a police stops you and asks you for documents, number one, you give them. Okay. Number two, when he asks you and he feels that it's not safe now because it's too much back and forth and they're not safe, they're going to ask you to put your hands behind your back. He's not arresting you. He's making sure that he's safe to pursue with the action that he's doing it.
Yeah.
So what do? You put your hands behind your back, and then if he feels comfortable that you come and now you could have a conversation, you will remove, okay?
Yeah.
Now, when he says you're getting arrested, that's it.
Yeah.
It's no more talk. It's no more question. But what I did, why you stop? Forget it.
Yeah.
You put your hands behind your back, because if you don't, I can give the police anything and authority that he wants to be safe.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you one more thing. When he calls for backup, when the backup comes, another 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 cops, they're not going to try to get the dialogue that he was having. They're going to come and they're going to grab you and put you down.
Yeah. That's
the rule.
Yeah.
And that's a rule that people have to, when the police stops you and put your hands out on the back, you put it, no more. If you have questions for the cop, you do it after the cop feels safe to proceed with conversation. That's something that aggravates me, is to see videos that he goes back and forth. But what I did, you arrested me because I'm black.
Yes.
You arrested me because I'm white. And then the wives are
video,
with
right?
the video. The wives are holding and making things even worse. Making things.
Well,
I don't believe that he's doing this to you. I don't believe.
But let me tell you a quick story, because I know I never really had anything like that happen, but I was in the military out in Oklahoma. You used to have to go what they call PT. You had to go run, do calisthenics and all that. So you wouldn't be in your uniform. I'd have like gym shorts on and all that, but I didn't carry anything on me because I didn't want somebody breaking in my car or whatever. And this is back in the 80s. So I'm driving, right? Light, car in front of me. We're like almost neck and neck. We go through the light. Gets me onto the base. Pulls me over, right? But pulls over, and then on his thing, get out of your car with your hands up. What did I do? I got out of my car with my hands up. That was it. I mean, I never had anybody do that.
Orders.
And then I got a ticket because I didn't have my license, even though I told them I was in the military. It doesn't matter, not an excuse. Ticket. You know what I mean? What are you going to do?
But what I think is, when a cop goes to the extreme, it's because he don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And if he don't feel safe, he needs to do what he needs to do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He needs to do what he needs to do to feel safe so he can get back to his family at the end of his shift, okay? Because we don't know what we're dealing with. And I feel sorry for that arrest in New York that 5 years after, and because of campaign season, okay, that's coming back to the table again because the guy died.
It was an anniversary.
Exactly, because the guy died. Well, number one, he got arrested I don't know how many times. So when the cop approaches him, he already knew who you were dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay, he already knew that he's dealing with somebody with trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, so put your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. I think questions are over. Are over. And if you don't do it then, okay, the cop has all the right to call as many backup he wants. And when they come, they're not going to kiss you. And they're not going to ask you where you live.
Yeah.
Okay?
I know.
They're not going to ask you questions.
I know.
The only reason they're coming is because the cop that's trying to work with you is not getting nowhere.
But you know what, Carlos? That also goes into just recently we had 2 shootings in Texas, 1 in Ohio. Okay, so this leads into that because when they put this stuff on video, you have the people that are getting arrested. Why are you doing this? You're doing this. You're doing it because this, that, and the other thing, right? So just watch the news. Texas, the guy that did all the shooting there, terrible, right? But he said he was against this before anybody was in office, right? Before anybody was in office, this is how he felt. So what do you hear on Sunday morning shows? This is all Trump's fault. He's a racist. The guy in Ohio, barely hear about this. He wanted Elizabeth Warren to win. He was for Elizabeth Warren. And he was a Democrat. And he loved Antifa, all these liberal Democrat things. But what do you hear? It's Donald Trump's fault. So it's the same thing until people just listen and look at what's right instead of accusing everybody. I don't think it's going to get any better. But I totally agree with you on that. You know what, with that, I saw there was one on Twitter. It was the girlfriend there. It was a young cop. He wouldn't do anything. I mean, he was trying not to get into trouble because he's probably on probation. And this other cop comes and the girlfriend's screaming, why are you doing this? But when we had police officers getting water thrown at them or with water pistols at them, you know, I mean, oh, well, it didn't really mean much. It's only water. No, it starts at water, then it goes to acid, then it goes to knives. And
because what they're trying to do with that is sending a message. So that message with the water could be rocks, could be anything.
Yeah, anything.
Because what they're trying to do is send a message that you don't have power here.
Yeah.
We have the power here.
Yep.
Okay? And to me, when I don't know, I'm not saying that all the police are right. I'm not saying
nobody's
that
perfect.
all the police it's perfect.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
But so far, the ones that I can identify is I cannot put the blame on the police. I'm sorry. He told you to put your hands behind your back, and you're making so many excuses not to. Okay? So now you don't feel safe, and I'm sorry. If you don't feel safe, he needs to do something. He needs to act, and he has seconds, not minutes, not half an hour. He has seconds to act before you remember that you can do something to him. Okay, so that's.
Yeah, it is
if
ridiculous.
we don't support our police department, okay. And again, and for those that those that violate the rules, they will pay for it because it's justice for them too.
You're right. But you know, I have to say, I guess one of the water things happened in Harlem, in New York, and there was a community group there, like a neighborhood group, whatever. They came out and said, we support our police. And they were like, this is nonsense. We don't want this. We would come out, you know what I mean, if the police were doing something wrong, and we have to come out when the neighbor's doing something wrong. So I thought that was really great.
Well, I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was probably 2 years ago, and I believe it was Chicago, that they were just shooting the police for nothing. They're just walking to their cars, and they're sitting on their cars, and they just shoot them. You know,
Well, look at Chicago. So getting back to that, we had a shooting in Texas. We had a shooting in Ohio. 6 people were shot dead in Chicago. That happens every weekend. But we're going to see wall-to-wall coverage about Texas and Ohio for like the next week when this stuff happens every day in Chicago. I'm not taking away from either of those two, but it's like it's amazing when you watch TV what they want to put out there.
And you know what's amazing me is I understand the Second Amendment that everybody in America wants to have a gun, but don't tell me that to defend yourself you need that kind of a gun. Okay? It's no need for you to have that kind of a gun. When a police officer, okay, goes there and shoots 1 bullet at a time, you can shoot 50 runs and kill 50 people if they all on the same. How many times the cop has to?
I know what you're trying to say, but I mean,
it's no need.
but the criminals,
I'm sorry,
the criminals are always going to have those weapons. They're going to always have them, Carlos.
But they're buying them legal.
I know.
They're buying them legal.
But
they should not buy that kind of a gun.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Up here,
they
you
should.
can't buy certain things. It's illegal. But I'm not. I mean, you know what? You can when they stop in London, right, in England, they have they have no guns there. They're having problems with people being knifed to death. That's been a big thing. People have been stabbed to death over this. So if you take one weapon away, people are gonna. If people intend on hurting people, they're gonna use another weapon, or they'll use what they do. They've been using in England and these other places. They throw acid on you. So they'll find another way.
And we probably have about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And I know what this is going. It's been 2 days. And it's going into blaming the president. That's what everything's going into. So.
Although Congress is not, they're on leave or whatever it is.
Even that I don't think, that one thing has to do with the other. The people have enough material to say that he's inviting people to do this. So, because if he didn't have that material out there, okay, people wouldn't be saying that. And I mean, you have to agree with me because.
Carlos, why is it that certain Democrats can say, or the people that are liberal in this country can say anything they want? They can say anything they want, carte blanche all the time. They can say it anything they want. Why is that
Listen,
so?
when
Why is
Obama
that
was
so?
there, everybody's talking about Obama. When Obama was there, people were after Obama just like they
Not
after
like
Trump.
now. Not like now.
They did everything.
There's
They
no,
picked
there's no,
the
Carlos,
pictures, they put
Carlos,
things that
there's
they
no,
did.
there's no comparison. I'm sorry,
Well,
that's my opinion. There's no comparison to what, how this
and you
president's
know
being
why?
treated. Why?
You know why?
Why?
Because it was a total different campaign. He didn't said anything, or whatever he said cannot compare with what Trump said. Okay? So, I mean, we have to look. We have to look this.
But you really got to look at what people put out there. Okay? You know how they keep on saying in the media that he said, if you don't like it here, go back to your home country. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. And people will call on TV, they'll say his racist tweet. That's not news. That's your opinion. Somebody saying this is racist is not your opinion. What he said in the tweet was, if you don't think it's great here, go back to your home country, fix it, and then come here and show us how to do it. How is that the same as go home? Go home. You don't like it here, go home. Most Americans would probably, most people that come to America would probably think, this is one of the best countries here. Why are you here then? Right?
But then send her back is...
That's people yelling in the audience because why can this lady that said that said the worst thing, and I've heard this before on the news, and you probably have heard this too, the worst thing in this country now, or the most dangerous thing in this country now, are white men. That's prejudice. That's racist. Racist prejudice is pointing someone out based on their race or their gender, right? So why is it that she can say that on the news, but she's not a racist? I find her a racist. Anybody that points people out a specific group is racist.
A lot of times we say things that can be taken into a different...
What is different than that? Why can she say that? But if Trump says, if you don't like it here, go back to your country, fix it, and show us how to do it.
He has an issue going back.
She's a Congress.
Issue going back.
But you don't think it's worse?
One of the first things that
Carlos,
he did...
wait a minute. You don't think it's worse to say, if change the definition and say white men are the most dangerous thing. Change that to any other group. What would happen? That's racist. So I'm sorry. These people can't get away with saying one thing, and then when he says something, it's racist.
So going back to his second debate.
Yes.
You know what he said?
What? What?
Do what you need to do with him, because I'm not going to use the same terms that he did. Do whatever you need to do with him. If you need a good lawyer, I have a good lawyer.
Well, that he shouldn't have
This
done
was
that.
the second debate.
But Carlos.
This was the second debate.
However, I don't agree with that. However, these groups were paying people. They were paying people to go disrupt these things.
I understand,
they were paying,
but he should
they were
not
paying
said it. And it's one after another.
I totally
agree with you.
And then going
after the third, he went after a handicapped reporter. Things, they can go to every single rally, and they will find stuff that he's doing it. He should not do it. By now, he should learn that he needs to stop that. I'm sorry. He's doing a good job. I'm not saying that he's not.
So you're saying a congressman can say what they want. You're saying a congressman can call the president racist.
Same thing.
But nobody holds them accountable.
Rules is for everybody, including the president.
But it doesn't happen that way, though.
The rule should be for everybody, including the president. And people are going after him because they have material that can prove what they're saying. And I'm sorry, he's giving them to,
they're changing,
he's giving that to them in a silver platter.
They changed the whole thing. Puerto Rico.
She's giving me the finger. That means it's 1 minute. Go ahead.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
No, the whole thing where they were picking on him with Puerto Rico, right? He didn't say anything bad about Puerto Rico, but isn't it amazing? The Puerto Rican governor had to resign because of corruption. Amazing, isn't it? He was saying that he didn't want to give money because they're so corrupt here. And what do we have here? I understand maybe the message needs to be a little bit lighter, but he's not that type of person. You know?
Then
would you rather have somebody?
I'm sorry, then he don't belong there. Because him acting like that, he's never going to reach out to me. He's only going to reach out to his base, and he's my president too. He needs to reach out to me.
So you think it's okay for that lady to call all white men white supremacists?
I just told you. No.
But
everybody should follow the rules, including the president.
So you're holding him.
She's going to kill us.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you, John. Always a good discussion.